Welcome to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. Welcome back to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. I'm your host, KJ Green. I'm a product leader, entrepreneur, and lover of all things technology. Thank you all so much for your participation throughout season 1. We are currently in our Builder series, and I'm so excited because this is actually a bonus episode that you all are getting within the Builder series. And this is actually a bridge episode to our Applied AI Foundations theme that we'll have within season 2. So before we jump in, I just want to give a major shout out to our audience all across the world, across the United States, Europe, and Asia. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your shares. It really means a lot to me, and I really, really appreciate it. All right. So we are in a moment in time right now where you can go from idea to a live product faster than ever before. And AI has really lowered the bar to building in a way where we've never really seen in humanity. But as this barrier drops, a bigger question starts to come to focus. If everyone can build, what actually matters? And today's conversation is about to answer that question. And today I'm joined by two really great guests, Nick and Laura Rackley, co-founders of Vibe Otter, a platform that lets anyone build a website, a full-fledged and full design website, simply by describing what they want to build. They're building in real time at the intersection of AI, product, and accessibility. And they're doing it together as a co-founder couple. So Nick, Laura, welcome to the stage, and please introduce yourselves to the audience.
Yeah. My name's Nick Rackley. I'm the founder of Vibe Otter. I do more of the technical stuff, like building the AI.
Yeah, I'm Laura, and co-founder of Vibe Otter, and I interface a lot with the people and marketing and that kind of thing. So some of the artistic element, I'd like to say.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show, Nick and Laura. And before we dive into your story, why not? We'll just jump into beginning to start the demo. And it's crazy because Nick and I were going back and forth over email, and we decided that you all need to see the product to make it live. So Nick will start us off with a demo, and then we'll roll back into questions and allow things to kind of build as we talk.
Yeah. So what we're going to try to do is do a live demo of, we're going to take an idea that KJ has. We're going to do a bunch of keyword SEO research on it for a cloud skill that I made. That's going to take about 20 minutes. And then based off of that, that'll give us a really good in for something that people are searching for and not finding. And then we'll actually build the app to serve that on Vibe Otter by the end of this conversation so that we can look at it. So to begin, basically you would give an idea for something that you think that people are searching for and not finding. We'll type this in, and then it'll generate a bunch of keywords that we would actually want to build a product around. The criteria basically looks for stuff that has 500 monthly searches a month that seem to be no one else is really competing for them that much.
Okay. Cool.
So what would you want to search for?
So I was thinking, if possible, if we could do a local church search tool.
Okay.
I know religious tools are underrated, nobody's building in that space.
No.
So
Yeah. So we've actually, for this tool, we have seen that a lot of times it does find up religious topics. For that exact reason, people just haven't really done it a lot previously. A lot of times, I think this finds stuff that, it wouldn't have made sense for someone to hire a developer and make something on it. But it could make a lot of sense now that it's just so much cheaper to make something.
For sure. And what's cooking in the background as we put in? Do we just type a prompt or?
Yeah. So this isn't actually Vibe Otter. This is just my own private cloud skill. I may actually productize this, but basically what's going on is it just follows this kind of algorithm I've kind of learned and also stolen from some guy on X. I don't know, Danny Posma. Have you ever heard of him in your travels?
Haven't, but I'll have to look him up.
I'm solopreneur influencer. And like, he basically gives this formula of like search on Ahrefs, which is like an SEO research tool for like keywords that have traffic of over 500 people looking for that keyword a month and under 10 keyword difficulty. I found the idea is, again, like if you can find something people are looking for that they're not finding and no one's competing for, not only do you have potential distribution on SEO, but it also might just generally be an underserved product. So I think like the one you threw out, this church tool, if there is a gap there, it'll show that in the fact that there isn't an existing church tool and that there are a lot of people searching for those keywords. Now, then my thing, I found that just doing that guy's simple test, it just takes forever because like the keyword difficulty score that these tools give isn't very good. So I have Claude literally manually type everything into Google and then confirm it. So like, what you won't see here is like, I'm going to have a Chrome window pop up like hundreds of times while it's actually like checking everything. And then that was just what I used to manually do. It automatically does it in 20 or 30 minutes. That's why it takes a while. And then from that, I'm able to say like, I basically just say like, hey, like, where could we actually rank if we only got like 3 to 5 backlinks? Like on this exact keyword, on this exact page, are we going to be number 1 or are we going to be like number 10? Because a lot of times number 10 might not have any real traffic, even though it's easy to get on the first page. So I try to screen out through that. And then I have it do multiple rounds. And if the first one, which could happen in yours, like say it comes up that it turns out there's tons of people with like owning the keywords of searching for local churches, I allow it the leeway to just kind of go off on its own and say, well, there doesn't seem like there's anything there, but there's something else related to churches that seems like it's really good. So it could generate another 200 keywords off of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I guess with like embedding with the SEO, is that because from my limited knowledge on SEO, like it helps you to rank on the Google search engine to get indexed, etc. But does that in any way or shape or form help to guarantee traffic or traction right when you begin and launch?
So SEO, it's definitely not going to get, even if you do it well, it's probably not going to get you traffic immediately. It usually takes like 3 to 6 months to really work well. But the beauty of it is if you get it, it's basically just like free traffic every day that everyone else would have to pay for, because if you get the number 1 organic rank on Google, there might be people paying for ads above you, but you're just the first one there. So it effectively is something that people are paying for, because a lot of people will also just skip the ads to the first organic rank.
And let me ask you this too, because now that we're in the AI world, AI era, do you all for SEO, like what you do with SEO, do you do that with AI EO as well? Like for the AI platforms, like what they would pull and search?
That's a lot harder. Like no one actually.
I was gonna say, nobody knows how that actually works. And if they say they do, they are completely not being honest.
Sure.
That's the first red flag. Yeah.
The general rule, if someone's making strong claims with that, they're probably just full of it.
Yeah.
I will say in that respect, what we've seen is posting on Reddit.
Facebook groups.
I have observed that ChatGPT has a direct line to Reddit. So like I've had Reddit posts for a new product that I did that was getting ChatGPT recommendations before it was even indexed on Google. So like within 6 hours. So they clearly have an API direct access to Reddit, and they clearly do care about
sure.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Just have to ask because I know, people are trying to optimize for that a lot these days, and we're all figuring it out as we go.
Also Facebook, we've been having a lot of luck with like Facebook posts. Like if you find a Facebook post on Google, even if it's old, posting on that can be pretty beneficial for ChatGPT and stuff.
Facebook groups within that and stuff like that. It's kind of going back to that genuine content where people kind of query, right?
For sure. Awesome. Well, if you all are ready, happy to jump into your story.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear from both of you. What were you each doing before starting Vibe Otter, and what led you to building this together?
Do you want to go first?
Well, that's where I met you was at T-Mobile. Corporate strategy at T-Mobile. I wasn't really a huge fan of the corporate life, and it doesn't seem like you ended up being either, I guess. I always knew I wanted to do entrepreneurship. we ended up, we kept having kids. So I didn't want to quit my job at the time. But pretty
For
much as soon
sure.
as I could, I decided to quit my job, really with no idea whatsoever. That was mainly just because I had learned how to program agentic AI in like a part-time master's program at University of
Hmm.
Washington here. I learned it about a year before that was even a buzzword. And I just remember at the time I was taking the class and I built the, like, it was doing tool calls and everything. And I was just like, well, this is obviously going to be a big deal. Like, this is absolutely the kind of thing, if you learn it, you should quit your job and try to build something on it. And then, well, yeah, I just had a bunch of really bad ideas for a long time, like 9 months. Like nothing worked out very well. And then I came up with this website builder idea and she got involved. Then at that point, I kind of was using her as a user test initially, where I was showing her some competitive products like Lovable and seeing her reaction to them. So she can talk how she got involved from there.
Yeah. So my background is my first degree is in chemical engineering, second is in electrical. I was working at a renewable company that does fuel cells, and I was managing their electrical engineering department. So like I was more on the hardware side of things, like in the kind of that thing, but interacting a lot kind of with what we call INC for that kind of, troubleshooting and viewpoints. Where I started to get involved was interesting. So I had an Instagram called Let's Turn Up the Beats, and I
Okay.
cooking, and I just started posting like vegetarian main cooking ideas because there wasn't a ton. And I was like, I don't want salads, I want like
Hmm.
different things. So I started to do that, and it kind of like ran off. Like I got a bunch of followers. I was getting all these things, and I was like, wait, like what do I even do with this? And so where we kind of like hit each other is he's got like ideas and kind of there. And I'm going, well, like you got to monetize this. I don't want to spend a bunch of money. I want to do this. At the same time, he's testing like, hey, try Lovable. What do you think about building a website on there? And I'm like, this is literally like the worst ever. And then Wix, and then I think Chariot was one of them.
Yeah,
Like,
chair's like a super small thing.
yeah, but it was like I visually liked it better, but it would be funny because he'd just be like, well, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But their interface, I was like generally confused. I was like, well, how do I interact with this? And so that's kind of part of that. And then as I was working, we were talking and we're like, well, let's try getting customers or doing those things. So while I was working, I'm calling and getting customers. I went to farmers markets. I did direct sales, got rejected.
Grassroots.
Yeah, like complete cold call, like completely like internally died as a person, rebuilt myself as a person, like the amount of
That's real.
rejection, like, was serious. But then we started getting lots and lots of customers. And then it started to become like a real thing. And he obviously had a lot more guts just leaving, a job in that regards, where mine, he'd already essentially had a product that would work. And I was just basically bringing in the customers and kind of like taking it, I guess, to the next step or something along those lines. But yeah. And then it's been really fun.
Yeah.
Very challenging, but very fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So you all were entrepreneurs before you were entrepreneurs,
He
essentially.
was. I
Yeah.
was just trying to cook online, okay? Like I went through a dumpling series because every country has a dumpling, so I'm making those,
Yeah.
doing different ones, with like, with my kid and like for having fun with that. And I was like, oh, might as well post it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. But that brought good skills, really, really good skills.
Yeah. Well, I
But
think it's a growth, right? Everything you do can transfer to something else if you just have that kind of adaptive mindset and willing to just get your ego out of the way.
for sure, for sure. So what made you all actually commit to Vibe Otter versus, just like, hey, we're just going to continue to experiment? What made you say, hey, okay. Well, Nick, I know you already mentioned like you
Yeah.
were you were kind of out of corporate, from a while and had tried different ideas, but what made this idea stick for you all?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this point, like I had actually I was like trying to build this robot and I realized what I wanted to do was just like way beyond the resources I had, like time and money. So I actually came up with like a formal framework to like ideate and like go through everything. I came up with like
Hmm.
20 different ideas and evaluated on a bunch of criteria. And like, I actually think it was a pretty good framework. I didn't end up working for much of it. VibeOtter was second in order I prioritized. And One of the big reasons why I just went with it is like it had an MVP. I thought could be built really, really quickly. Like I had assessed
Yeah,
I could build an MVP in about 1 week. That wasn't quite true. I ended up building like a pre-MVP where it was a website builder, but you couldn't even pay. Like that let me, I got that out in 3 days. And then we did a Google Ads campaign to drive traffic to it to see if anyone would just click on subscribe, because I was like, okay, I mean, I don't need someone's credit card to know if someone has a purchase intent. And yeah, like one person actually did, even on that 3-day website builder.
wow.
So that was a huge advantage where we could test it really quickly. But
Hmm.
beyond that, like the broader space, the whole kind of thesis, and I don't think it's changed at all, is that like everything that exists now in AI is targeting like tech people and like tech adjacent people like product managers. And like
For sure.
nobody is building stuff for normal people,
Yeah.
which is like kind of mind blowing to me because like there's a lot more normal people than tech people in the world. And they probably could stand to use this stuff a lot more. So that's always been the overarching idea, is to try to build
Hmm.
something that would let normal people, a user interface that's useful to them. It eventually evolved into this vision we have now of like an app in the box where like it just works it takes care of all your security and all these other problems you hear about in vibe coding. But it's all just a continuation of that original vision.
And
That makes sense.
for me, what made it want to kind of take the plunge is like, why not? Like, I know that sounds
I
crazy
love that.
because like we do have like young kids and we have this and we're in this competitive space and all that stuff. But like the benefit is you are directly related to your outcome. Like if you get sales, if you get marketing, if you get customers, if you get improvements on the tech, like you are directly related to that in like real time. And if you don't, like you are get the benefit of that. You don't get the benefit of that, right? So it was the option of basically I was in middle management, which is trash, and
Trash.
and I get to control my own destiny with the person that I've chosen in life. Like okay, what's the worst that could happen? I guess we go back to corporate America, and that's always the kind of thing in my head. The worst, our fallback solution is where most people are at. So why not make a run at it? I feel like Jim Carrey talked about that you can fail at what you're bad at and you can fail at what you love. Why not go for it,
I agree. Totally agree. I love that energy. I really, really, really do. Wow. Wow. So I know the screen share is acting a little crazy, but if you could just talk me through what the first version looked like
Yeah.
and how was like your ideation process to, get it to just like a workable product that you could put out to customers.
I think I figured out screen share for websites. So I don't think I'll be able to show this Claude thing, but I think I will be able to show you the websites I dug up. So let me try it. The Wayback Machine, I don't know if people are familiar with that, but the Wayback Machine is like this website you can go to see like periodic versions of any website on the internet. So I went and looked at what our original MVP looked like.
Oh my God, that is it. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully this shows. Wait, which one's what? Okay. I'm going to show you our current site. Okay.
And you see it? Oh yeah.
All right.
It's
So
popping up.
Oh,
wow.
So this,
Yeah.
this was the original site that took like 3 days to make.
Okay.
It was very basic and most of the stuff didn't even work. And yeah, you can actually see on it that like, oh yeah, I won't actually type it in because it's obviously not going to actually work. There's no back end here, but I thought it was interesting. I went to the pricing page and you can even see in the Wayback Machine, this was our pricing page. And then when you click select plan, it just airs out. So I think that's important for a lot of people to see because I think it's really better to just get something out there. And even if it's something like that, like to see a purchase intent and see if there's any validity to your idea. Because I think if that guy hadn't clicked that, we probably would have moved on to something else, And then
For sure.
while I have it up, I can just show you, this is the site the guy actually made that he clicked on. So this kind of gives you an idea of the quality of site. the original MVP had. So it was like, okay.
I was gonna say that.
To be fair, this is actually probably a really, really good example.
Yeah, it is. It is. It looks good.
This is definitely not the worst I've seen. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it speaks to the try fast thing. And if you drive like 30 people, like a statistically significant sample of people to your site, you know, when your software gets lucky that one time, it's going to catch that. And in hindsight, that like the fact that guy wanted that and most people other didn't want the bad sites that it screwed up, it actually did tell us there was real demand for something that makes an actually good site, you know?
Yeah.
And we're probably seeing that a lot more now that we were able to build the technology to consistently put out stuff that's better than that one.
For sure. Yeah, that looked really, really, really good. So I guess like early days as you were building, what was the biggest like challenge that you all like faced, especially with, you know, building a customer base, having to put this out to the world beyond just an MVP and continuing to iterate? Any early challenges that you can note?
Yeah, well, I mean, so that guy that clicked on it was like a freak, like fluke thing. Like no one else wanted to really even use our website builder or build sites for probably like 4 months at least after that.
Yeah.
So Laura kind of came up with a alternative business model and plan and basically like a mini pivot almost that she can kind of talk through.
So I took this very seriously because Nick was like, you need to get the first customer. And I'm like, shit, okay. I'm like, the fate of the world is crashing down on me if I don't execute on this. Right. So I am like, okay, what are we doing? How do we do this? So I'm like I said previously, like I was doing direct sales. I was cold calling. I was going to farmers market. I have a really terrible story about a witch festival. But anyway, so I was doing that. And then I started to look on, you know, Fiverr, like different things where people were selling their services. And those were really not great either. But I found I thought about, when I got photography for my wedding, I went on Thumbtack and I was like, okay, let's try doing that. And it was pretty funny because I'm literally doing this like lunch break after work call on the way there, stuff like that. And I shoot you a text and I'm like, hey, I have a customer. Can you call them? And can they call you in like 5 minutes or something? I didn't give him any warning. I took a picture of what it was generally about, and that was it. And I was like, good luck.
Yeah, I was already working on random engineering stuff. And then like the first response is like, we're not a web design agency. Like, I don't want to do this. How am I supposed to just talk this? I'm not a web designer.
Yeah.
And then like, but then I found that I did like a stint in mortgage banking. So I was like, I'm kind of good at telesales. So, and I guess I could use my thing to build them a website. So that seems like a good way to like get on paper and like exist. So yeah, we did the call. The first call went okay. Yeah, we didn't get that client, but then the second one she sent me, we ended up getting our first customer. Like we built like a fitness like a gym coach website. Then really interestingly, that guy, because we had his site, then there was another person interested in like fitness logos. We ended up like upselling her into doing her fitness coaching website. But then she's become like kind of associated with our organization in some way because like she ended up standing her own web design agency herself using Vibe Otter. So she actually does that now in addition to being a fitness coach. It's pretty crazy.
Wow. Network effect in a weird way.
Yeah. And then further down the line, really quickly, I realized like if I'm being a web designer and I'm forcing myself to use my tool that kind of sucks, and the more I use it, the more I realize it sucks. If every time it doesn't work, then I go in and improve Vibe Otter so that it will work the next time. I actually have this really fast iteration loop. And that's really how we were able to get A, so much better, so much faster, but also B, I think like that's why our sites and apps, I think, are a lot more tailored to like actual small business owners instead of like tech bros, because we have a lot of like asset embedded kind of preferences of our clients, our web design clients in Vibe Otter.
For sure. And small businesses, as we know, may not have the expertise or just the funding to kind of spin up a website that quickly or rather at all. But I guess like, how are you all marketing to customers today? What's like your primary funnel for getting them into your ecosystem?
So that's a great question. So since we have that 2 offerings, so one, we're definitely trying to scale up with our builder and get kind of your your kind of do-it-yourselfer mentality. And that's a very different target audience than
Yeah.
somebody that wants nothing to do with anything and just wants someone else to take care of it. And that's more of our web design, our white glove service. And
Mhm.
so I'd say maybe we were doing direct sales for the beginning portion. And then now we're not doing any direct sales. I don't have to call anyone, don't have to chase anyone down, don't have to do anything along those lines, which is great. And now that we have just indirect coming in. So people are coming in from social media, people are coming in
Nice.
from word of mouth, people are coming in from like we go to networking events, people are coming in from workshops we've done. And so I think we've kind of started to pass that threshold where it's gotten traction and it's kind of creating its own self-sustaining system. Because at this point, I'm really trying to focus on get people using the builder, so much so that I'm like trying to actually scale down how many clients I'm taking for the white glove service.
Okay. And for the builder, just so I'm understanding correctly, so the builder offering is where you all walk through the client, or where they do it on their own?
Do it on their own mainly. So the two
Okay.
offerings is you can hire us to build it for you, and then there's an initial design fee. And we use our
Right.
tools and we will build it for you and go through this process, and then you subscribe and it continues on. The builder is you're saving that initial design fee by trying it and building it yourself. We do have some crap buttons. So we have like it saves and it does those things, and you can also reach out at any point. But those are two different types of people, you know? But the intent of our offering is definitely small businesses who don't have, available cash or don't want to invest it in that or don't understand or want to start saving money on subscriptions. That's a
Mhm.
big deal too. Because you can build full web apps, you don't have to do for a hairstylist, do Vargo, you don't have to do bookings, you don't have to do all these other things where you're just raking up in costs and subscriptions. You can do that for a flat 34. So that's a completely different offering, if that makes any sense.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, if you are a small business owner, please check out Vibe Otter to build your website. Wow, I love that. I love that. And then for White Glove, you all just walk them through and you do it. You do the full build.
It's a web design agency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually
Okay.
may continue to do that. We're kind of undecided because we like it. We think
Yeah.
it's good to stay in touch with what people actually want. And like,
Yeah.
it seems like it may actually vertically integrate, like just for how much more efficient we are than like
Mhm.
traditional web designers. There is a world where maybe we actually start hiring people to be web designers
For
and like make a
sure.
more
For
scaled
sure.
web design agency than could have existed before AI, I think.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's
Do you?
fun. You learn a lot about different businesses.
It's
Like,
fun.
oh my gosh. Like, I mean, I've always been exposed to supply chain operations, things like
Yep.
that, but looking at like, how do you price out a binder? What are tabs? How does printing work with different things along those lines? All the way to like, someone is putting together something to get them to donate a kidney. So we're like, the range is like all over. I think the prisoner one's pretty funny too.
Yeah, that one ended up working. It was like a prison pen pal service. But yeah, like
Yeah, the
you're
range.
very often actually one of the first stops of someone talks to when they're starting a business. Like
For
a lot of
sure.
times as a web designer, you end up being like a small business consultant just because like at some point, like if someone hasn't decided on their prices and you're making them the website and they want prices on their website,
Yeah.
you got to like decide a price. And if they're like, well, I don't know how to decide this. Like, I mean, I did used to work corporate strategy. So I'd be
Yeah.
like, well, maybe you think about it like this and this.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect outfit. More like upselling R&D. Oh, gosh. Like, that's awesome.
Whole thing in R&D, yeah, essentially.
Yeah. Okay. So would love to just hear about your dynamic with working together as a couple, co-founder dynamic. How do you all, I mean, you've explained this earlier, but would love to fully get that breakdown on how you like split roles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we don't think in roles as
Really,
much as
yeah.
it's just kind of what we do. But yeah, I mean, like so, like
Yeah.
all the engineering and technology stuff I do, incredibly enabled by Claude Code.
We love it.
Yeah.
Shout
I
out
actually
to Claude.
did that exercise where I estimated how much my own code base would have taken me if I had humans doing it, and it was probably about $3 million. That's what a $200 a month Claude Code subscription is able to do in the right hands.
And then I think it's interesting. I think obviously you kind of have to figure out how you work together. I think us being
Yeah.
already a couple, we kind of see how we've worked together throughout like kids and through all the different facets of
For
life.
sure.
So there is a lot of communication and kind of just understanding different perspectives and different things, right? And if somebody's getting traction on something, you don't really argue with that person as much, right? Like, I'm building this amazing feature and it's working really well, and I'm getting customers to it. Well, obviously, like, keep doing it, man. Chug on. Right. And same thing with kind of some of the marketing, but we literally work right next to each other. Like, our desks are next to each other in an office with a window. Like it.
Wow. The
So,
global headquarters. We love it.
and I think that's pretty cool because you know how you have like coworker friends and you guys have like these inside jokes and you're like, oh, remember when this person did that, or remember when that happened?
Yep.
You get to have that with someone you already have like a romantic relationship with, which is really cool because work's like a huge portion of your life. So like
For
there's never
sure.
nothing to talk about. And then if you're like on the same kind of thinking about things similarly, it's a lot of fun to kind of volley on, right? So that's always been really cool because I remember I'd tell you like jokes from my work friends. You'd be like, I don't know who that person is. Like, why are you telling me that? And I'm like, oh my God, but it was so funny because of this. And it's like,
Yeah, like no context, no connection. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, those are the people
Yeah.
you've chosen to hang out with in your free
Yeah.
time. Like, might as well really get all the time at that point. Obviously, conflicts come up and you have to like negotiate that. But I mean, I
For
think
sure.
coming in it with the best of intentions and kind of open minded on it, like that's going to be half your battle. Yeah.
For sure. For sure. Where do you both see things differently when it comes to building? Like, how do you manage like the differing perspectives that you have? Because I know, Nick, you mentioned that you're more on like the build technical side. Laura, you're more of the marketing, customer facing. So how do you all marry those two together with the differences that you bring to your team?
Well, Nick's extremely business minded, and I'm extremely like the customer can have whatever they want, despite how much it's going to emotionally and physically cost me. So probably that's where we've had to. Like, he'll be like, "Hey, like that's just so far out of scope, it's not even funny," and I'm like, "But that's their dream. We need to support their dream." So I think that's probably where we've had some conflict and kind of not in a
Yeah,
negative word, but kind of in a reality check. Like, hey, you are doing your dream, you're doing a business, like kind of like keep focusing. So I think that's there. So I think there's some grounding element for that. I always want to do whatever I can, and sometimes despite myself. And then the grounding element that we are a business and we want to help more people, not just this one person, right?
sure, for sure. I'm sure Nick brings in that Yale MBA profitability and
We're taking it to state school. We can make it work.
awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, what's something that you all have learned about each other through building? I mean, obviously, having kids and brings in a different perspective, obviously, but now working together, what's something new that you've learned about each other?
I don't think I realized how much Laura hates to disappoint people until I saw her interacting with clients.
That's probably true.
Like she really, really dislikes disappointing people.
I think for me, I think with your background in the military and you're like, we're going to do it this way. I'm like, what? Like, I know that's what we're doing in that way. Kind of, which logically makes sense, but sometimes like it's just very foreign to me, right? Like I've worked in corporate America, I've worked in, all different types of jobs. And so that level of precision and structure, I'm kind of like, oh, I'm kind of just like, figuring it out as I go kind of thing. So that I was surprised how much that's integrated into like your approach to things, I think. But
Mhm.
it's working, keep it going.
Yeah, yeah.
An example of that is like if like, oh, we need to like submit something to somebody in like 1 hour and we don't know what to do. In the military, my natural reaction is if you're under time pressure, just simplify things as much as possible. Don't introduce anything new. Just
Yeah.
do the most direct
Just get
path
it
to get
out.
it out.
Yeah.
Mine was brainstorm.
Yeah.
We should go back to the drawing board because now it's a different project. So now we have to brainstorm. So obviously those are different.
For sure. For sure. Wow. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. And jumping back to the product a bit, I wanted to ask a question just like to get a sense of like the AI, the technicalities behind a Vibe Otter, like what goes under the hood. So what is the AI actually like doing when it's like after you like prompt or like you're building the website, like what is it doing? And second question, I guess from an architecture perspective, like, do you utilize any, is it like an AI out of the box, or is it more like a cloud? Are you connected to a greater cloud infrastructure as well?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so Claude is what powers Vibe Otter. I'm like a huge Claude
Uh,
fan. Yeah, at a really high level, any agentic app like us is it's fairly simple to understand at a really high level, like because most people have used ChatGPT or something at this point.
for
All agentic
sure.
apps really mean is you like say something to ChatGPT behind the scenes, and then it talks to itself a bunch of times in rounds, and then it can
Yep.
also have the ability to like call tools like write code or look something up on Google. That's at the core how Vibe works. Then we have like just an extensive like system of things. So like when it first comes to you, it'll like detect what kind of site you're asking for and then like change its behavior moving forward if you want a full stack app versus like a simple website. And then yeah, there's just like tons and tons and tons of lines of these system prompts which contain all that like tacit knowledge that we've learned from our clients.
Yep.
People kind of trash on system prompts, I think, in the AI thing, like prompt engineering and all that. I don't think a lot of
Yeah.
people realize like that is what a major part of AI is going to be. Like the reason why Claude Code is better than OpenAI's coding agents is largely because of system prompts, which all got leaked like 3 days ago. But
No, it did. It
yeah,
did. It did.
it's not actually as much the foundational models anymore as the system prompts
Yeah.
that people are putting on top of them.
Yeah, like how
sure.
you're directing your paintbrush, right? That's where essentially some of the, I would say, artistry comes in from the design standpoint.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
for us, what's always seemed to be much
Mhm.
better product wise, I think, compared to all the big tech companies is the system I made for selecting stock images seems to do a really, really good job compared to anything else I've seen, including stuff from Google, Lovable, really anyone.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Because I know those images. Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I mean, that's just one little part of like what's really going on. But I think it also shows how like these products can become differentiated through these prompts.
Yeah. Yeah. And Laura, you were saying something, wanting.
When the pictures are everything, right? You think we live in a very visual world. So if your first picture is like disconnected to what your initial ask is, or if it's off-putting, like you don't even look at anything else. Like you really don't. Think about your personal interaction with like websites, but also with social media. Like, are you reading everything that people are saying? Or are you kind of just looking at it, summarizing in your head and moving on? So images and pictures, because the world we live in is a pretty big deal.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, and I think like that helps to continue to drive the human element, especially now in this AI world where, companies are designing tools for AI agents because they don't necessarily need the UI or the pictures that we do as humans, but like you all said, like you're designing a product for everyday people, not just the tech bro, not just folks who understand technology, which is great. And I wanted to zoom out a bit and ask, like, in this era that we're in, what are people getting wrong about building with AI that you guys have seen?
I guess what exactly do you mean by that? Like, just like,
Like perception wise, do they think like, I don't know, like people have different perceptions of AI, and do they believe that it will provide the product that they're looking for, or along those lines? Like, do people believe that when they type in a prompt, they use your product, that it will provide exactly what they're looking for? Is there much convincing that you have to do, and demos and such to show them that, hey, this actually works? And it's not like a manual thing that I have to build, but it's a system working to build it for you.
yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
I think in general, people, yeah, do not trust it or believe it,
Mm-hmm.
as evidenced by like, yeah, like our product, like, because it's funny, like, we don't actually consider ourselves in competition with other AI builders anyway. We're actually more like trying to go after like WordPress, Squarespace. It's like these like dinosaur website builders. Like,
For
you
sure.
really take hundreds of hours to build high quality sites on.
Mhm.
So it's like, well, like tell people like, no, like you can build a site better than that in 30 minutes yourself. And like people just don't believe that.
Yeah, I think there's that, or they're intimidated. I think there's also people there's like kind of two camps, right? There's people that want nothing to do with it, or that are intimidated by it, or it's too much. Or there's people that are like trusting AI with their entire world, right? And it's a tool. So the way I
It's a
kind of
tool.
think about it in my mind is like if you had somebody repairing your roof, like AI is a hammer. you still need someone who's kind of done that before, knows your thoughts, and just like yourself, you know your business, you can be your builder and use it as a tool. But at the same time, because it's new tech and you can efficiency and can do that and reduce time and cost and all those things, you also want somebody who's using a hammer to build your roof, right? You don't want someone who's never doing that or anything like that. So I think
For sure.
being in technology or being around those things, like time and money, are very precious to small businesses. So like that efficiency. But I would definitely say there's like no trust or too much trust. And I think that's where, kind of people can go awry. I think we did an example on social media. Someone was working through prompts for Claude for a Shopify plugin, and then AI took them in a very not great direction. And so you do want to have some, use the proper tools on how it's designed rather than kind of ad lib and mess around with that. Cause sometimes you don't know unintended consequences, right?
Agreed. Totally agree with that. And once a user uses Vibe Otter, they get a website live. What work comes after that? And what work would the user or customer underestimate? Do folks think like, hey, I have a website, it's live, I'm just going to go viral today?
I was going to say, if you want, we can actually begin building your site, and then maybe we can just show that once it's done.
Yeah.
So I'll bring this up. So yeah, your keyword search, which I can't show, it moved away from what you had originally asked of like churches near me or anything like that. Probably because people are actually building stuff or have stuff built on that already.
For sure.
It looks like, the top 6 were Bible verses about love, Bible verses about healing, Bible verses about protection, Bible verses for mothers, prayer for family, Bible verses about worry. The Bible verses about love has a volume of 165,000 people searching for it per month. And it seems like it's like basically uncompetitive. Well, basically what we can do here is we can just kind of describe the app you're going to make. And then we'll also add in like, can you include a blog that targets, we'll just say maybe 3 of these keywords. Does that sound good?
Yeah. Sounds great.
You want to describe your app? I was thinking about it more. I think for searching for churches, we probably do need an AI app. So this will even show you our flow. We generate like customized API instructions to hook up APIs. And that's my attempt to try to get it to people that don't even want to know what an API is, can possibly do something complex like that. I don't know. What do you want to prompt it?
Okay. Gosh, let me think.
I'll type out my prompt. You can tell me if you like it.
Okay.
I'll just say Claude.
AI.
That would add an API key I can copy and paste in quick.
So can you build me an AI church finder app using Claude? Okay. Yeah.
And we could say like that allows, I don't know, who would your target customer be?
It would be folks who've just moved to the area who are looking for churches, who've been in the area about like let's say 0 to 6 months, transplants.
But yeah, back to your initial question, people do expect that they are going to go viral. And it is pretty much surprising, right? So I think when someone builds a website, assuming they have all their, product execution on it, right? So what are you selling? If you're doing e-commerce, do you have a way to fulfill it? Do you have a way to execute on it? Do you have a way to do those things? But if it's just, a simple service one where it's like maybe you're, a life coach or something along those lines. So you build your web page and then now you need to bring it to the people. But everyone does believe they're going to go viral. It's actually very interesting. I had a conversation with somebody and they were concerned that they would going to go viral. And I had told them, that is a very big challenge. Most of the world's kind of trying to do that. And then in that same conversation, she had said, well, if it's too hard, maybe I just shouldn't try to go viral. So it's just like this complete, like not understanding how all these things work. So marketing becomes a big deal. And there's 3 different marketing ideas, right? So you have SEO, AEO, which we've kind of talked about. You have, social media, but also, YouTube and not your like Facebook, Instagram. So to even get into marketing, you have to understand who's your target audience, who's your clients, and where are they, right?
Yeah, back to the basics.
Exactly. And sometimes, like, depending on your industry, that maybe that's, doing a business card with a QR code and handing it out or going door to door. It just depends on what you have. So I think people, and I've tried to explain this in different ways before, a website is essentially a mailbox, right? And you've set up your mailbox. You can receive stuff. It's kind of your middle of the funnel. But nobody knows about your mailbox unless you tell them or give it to them or give you those addresses or do all those different things. So, but yeah, the really expectation, people think they're going to go viral and everybody's going to be banging down their door. And it is hard to really grow a following. It's hard to grow a user base. It's hard to get
For
clients and do those
sure.
things. So, it takes a bit.
Yeah, yeah. And from the skills that you mentioned earlier, Laura, I'm thinking like, wow, this could probably be like an upsell on top of what you give. Like, hey, we'll help you with the website. We'll also help you like with the marketing plan, you know?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. We do offer those different services associated with
Okay.
it. Yeah, so it does in the white glove side, or kind of the, like do everything for you side. But yeah,
Yeah,
it does. I sometimes will give people like helpful hints. There's like a bunch of kind of free stuff you can do if that's like a budget issue. But yeah, there is potential for upselling and kind of doing those things because it's not trivial and consistency is key. So you have to be doing things often and frequently and then building that trust and brand, right? People have to go, I want to buy from her or I want to buy from that product. And that takes a lot.
Also, on the same subject, like we did kind of modify our long-term vision a little bit. Like we absolutely cannot do this now, but like super long-term, I realized like there are some people that actually want a website, like it's a hobby for them. But most people that want a website actually want to achieve a goal.
Yes.
They want to get customers.
Yeah.
So super
for
long term,
sure.
we'd like to figure out a way to like automate this stuff, like this keyword research, social
Mhm.
media posting, just everything.
Hmm.
My ideal like 10-year vision for this company would be like you show
Yeah,
up and you say how many customers you want us to get you, and then we tell you how much that's going to cost.
Yeah.
And then we just do everything. We make the app, the website, it just generates everything. It's going to need input from you.
Yeah.
I
for
think there's
sure,
always
for
going to be that
sure.
element of like your unique insight into like a customer need and a brand. But yeah, that'd be our long-term vision.
I love that. And I know you mentioned earlier that like you're competing against like the Wix, like those, traditional websites. And I think that's what the angle that you're taking is so differentiated that you're just giving a full service suite that can just like get someone started, get them running, maybe make them viral. We don't know, not guaranteed. But yeah, because that could definitely help a lot of business owners who are just like really struggling to find a following, struggling to like just kind of get things off the ground from a digital perspective. I feel like we all have been around social media for almost 20 years at this point, but we're all still understanding it. And there's some individuals who may not fully get it because they're doing the operational side of their business rather than the marketing side. So, yeah.
I call it research now. That's why I'm on social media. But yeah, no, I think that's a fantastic point. And a lot of some of the stuff that ends up happening, especially if this is their first, entrepreneur or first business or something like that, you actually become kind of a little bit of a therapist in some ways too. Like
For
really going
sure.
like confidence build, like, hey, you know the voice of your customer, you know that. Like I can help you get there, but you like trust in yourself and do those things. And which is great because that's what social media is going to respond to is that genuine, like, oh crap, I fell 3 times and I struggled through that. People want to hear about it. They want to hear founder stories. They want to talk. They want to understand.
Yeah. Build in public. Build in public.
Exactly.
Thank you for tuning in to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. And I hope you all have been enjoying the episode thus far with Nick and Laura. Honestly, this has been I'm tied. I was gonna say it's been my favorite episode, but it's been one of the episodes that I favored most. Let's say that. And just the lessons learned from Nick and Laura, how they really betted on themselves to leave corporate. And yeah, I've just learned so much from them as well. And I hope you all have taken in a lot of the lessons learned. But In this second segment, we'll continue the experiment that we started in this first half of the episode. Also, Nick and Laura will ask questions of me. So you'll get to hear just a little bit more from me as they turn the tables and ask questions of me. And yeah, if you guys are looking for a little bit more deep dives on this episode, in the show notes, I've included the Medium article that gives just a further deep dive of the episode. But I would also encourage you to subscribe to the newsletter where you can also get a deep dive of this episode as well as sneak peeks for future episodes. The newsletter is insidesolostar.substack.com. That's insidesolostar.substack.com. That will be in the linked in the show notes as well. But we are moving into the second half of the episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed the first half thus far. And yeah, let's jump in. Okay, so we're gonna jump quickly to the game. It's called Build or Scrap. So I'll list out just a product, an idea, and you all tell me like whether it's a build or something that should be scrapped.
And you
So
can't see it.
so an AI resume build.
Yeah, I'm definitely scrap on that
Yeah.
because it seems like
Yeah, me
ChatGPT and
too.
everything's
Yeah.
gonna be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, I will say, like, don't ever underestimate that stuff, even if you think ChatGPT will do it. Just because in the end of the day, there's a certain percentage of people in the world that like want something that literally says AI resume builder, you know? They just want the knowledge of someone made someone just for that issue, and it's not something AI tool.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's a good point. They
Sure.
want
But
that.
I would not do that. I would recommend
No, no,
that.
no, probably not. I wish I could. I've seen some resumes that I would recommend they use an AI builder. I'm like, what is this? What's going on? Why is it 12 pages long?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in 2026, like what are we doing? What are we
What are
doing
we
here?
doing? What are we doing here? Like, no one's reading that. Okay, like, come on. Yeah.
Okay, so an AI personal trainer, and I know this one can go either way, but thoughts on that build or scrap?
That was actually on one of my ideation list when I said like 20 ideas. I wouldn't say like a full personal trainer, but like I was interested in like an AI that could like watch me while I lift and coach my form.
Yeah, I'm definitely, I'd like that initial idea too. But then I think there's a lot of opportunity if you did like, like holistic ways to relieve, pain in this area after working out. Like, I think you could really take it and run with it, to a lot of different ways until you basically found your market. So I'm definitely on that one.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, build it. But I will hazard anyone that's out there. We've actually seen a lot of that app coming through us.
You'd
Like,
have to have your own.
Yeah.
I would not say it's an uncommon idea.
Yeah, you have to have your own twist. I do think there's like space. I think you're going to see AI medicine. You're going to see AI kind of hit all these different sectors and making some easy things that are approachable. Like when my daughter was really young, she was sick and I didn't want to use like, kind of over the counter medication, like so different twists. And I think you can do a lot with like fitness, wellness, things like that with that kind of twist of accessible information. Because I think people really want to be proactive in their life.
For sure. Okay, an AI church tool, which is what we were attempting to build, but would love to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a really good one because it is a more niche area. I mean, a lot of entrepreneurship, you're just trying to figure out something that somebody wants that for whatever reason other people have overlooked. And that sounds like the kind of tool that would probably do it. Like, I'm sure that's a need a lot of people have.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I haven't researched the subject. I feel like you probably have at least Googled it, right?
I would say like I've moved to so many different places at this point, and finding a church has been the most difficult. So if someone somewhere can build that tool for me specifically,
I think it's you today.
Yeah, we'll see if it's still being built right now.
Yeah.
what about an AI newsletter? Which I don't know. This one's kind of
What exactly do you mean? Just like something that's like just fully automated and it generates?
fully automated, just like generates every day a newsletter. Like Morning Brew, but like AI Morning Brew, just like pulling things from the internet, generating content.
I'm going to say scrap because I feel like that could be a lot of different ideas. But in addition to, I would be interested in that. I just think it'd be super competitive because I imagine a lot of that industry with news and all those things are going to start to use AI in a way like that. So also, I just want to be different than you guys. I'm gonna say scrap just to throw something in the mix.
Yeah, I would say scrap the fully automated thing because AI doesn't really contribute
Agree.
anything novel, and that's usually what's going to get you readership.
Oh,
Now, like a really, really
Yeah.
AI augmented newsletter flow, that probably can make a lot of sense. Like where if you say, I don't have a lot of time, but I definitely have like a super specialized knowledge in this
yeah.
topic, like maybe the industry of the company you work for, and like you like use a Claude skill or something to like publish it, that could still make sense. I mean, there's probably tons of people who do that.
Or
For
like
sh-
your own news feed. I guess that's getting similar to
Oh,
social media, but like what do you normally check out and what are some quick articles or things that you are interested in and then quick summaries on it or talking points or stuff like that. I think that would be kind of cool. Because I definitely look at similar websites each time and it would be nice to have that all in one place.
I like that. I like that. Okay. So for this last one, I'll just preface to say, in the world that we live in today, we're undergoing like a big wealth transfer from the boomers shifting their wealth to their grandkids, kids, and the boomers, the baby boomer generation, they valued relationships and a lot of this technology, AI, even websites to a degree weren't built yet. So, do you think with the wealth transfer that's undergoing and going to a younger generation that an AI wealth assistant could hold up? Should we build it? Should we scrap it? Can you see banks adopting this?
So you're saying like basically something that just is like an AI financial advisor?
Yeah, like financial advisor that's just AI generated, where
So
you may not have to call someone for everything or like initiating trades, like all like minor things. You still have to keep a human in the loop, but the human delegating some of those workflows to the AI.
that's an interesting one.
Yeah, I think that's a hard one.
Yeah, because usually AI and money, people always, I don't know, they think there's like a
Yeah.
potential bad
Yeah,
actor
it's
in the mix
tough.
or
Yeah.
something like that. Like, obviously, even if you have all those protections in, I just think people think like, oh, well, it's gonna,
Well,
get me.
my first thing is like, a lot of
Mhm.
people aren't actually clear on what financial advisors are selling.
Fair.
And then the day,
Yeah, that's fair.
they're selling the perception of expertise. When you actually look at the portfolios a lot of financial advisor firms make, they like do not line up with the best academic advice at all. They'll put you in all kinds of crazy stuff when like there's tons of research saying almost no one beats just investing in the S&P 500. So, but what people are really buying a financial advisor is it's a major decision to invest all your wealth. They know they don't know what they're doing with it. And they just want someone who like seems like they do. So it's kind of almost more of like a sales job, but that inner need of needing that expert, that's not going away anywhere.
Mhm.
No one
For
wants to like,
sure.
it's a very high degree of trust to like trust people. And that's why brand is so important in that space or like a personal relationship. So that's like a big barrier against AI there. On the flip side, then like I could definitely see younger generations maybe being more open-minded or even potentially at some point flipping to where like, no, like this AI that was totally trained for this, it's better than any human, it's proven. That's what I should trust over, my mom's advisor.
I think that's a fantastic point. You kind of think about which generation, what kind of data source do they want? Like I think the idea is what boomers want, like the trust, the individual person, that viewpoint. And I think
Yep.
kind of like our generation is more like data, right? Like even if someone tells me something, I want to go see the data. I'm just like, I'll believe you to this point. And so you're
Yep.
kind of hitting two with that potential. It'll be interesting to even see the younger generations kind of after, like where they're gonna fall, because maybe it'll completely go back. Maybe data can be manipulated. So I feel like from a marketing standpoint, that is a really cool opportunity. So not complete scrap, but your messaging has got to be on point, like on point.
For
So I'm
sure.
a semi-scrap.
For sure. For sure. Okay, so that was the game. Not sure if is there anything else that we want to show to the audience?
Well, the actual app is still
Yeah.
built, this one I kind of figured would take a second.
It means it's extra good.
Yeah. Extra good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, do you want to hang out and
Yeah. Because I could like cut all of like the dead
Okay.
space.
It should be done pretty
Yeah.
soon. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is definitely a hard one for because, like, technically, I just don't. I don't even know how I would design like like a national search app for like linking up somebody with their church, But we do have
Yeah.
it where it walks you through setting up like AI, like Claude or OpenAI as an API. So given
Hmm.
that, I would actually think it probably could rip something up just using the Claude API.
And so, how much do you
Nice.
think an app like this would cost to code?
We don't know what it is, so
Well, just even like, I mean, but you could
I mean,
initially
like,
imagine a
yeah.
proposal.
Well, the one, I mean,
You have the scope, right?
to do it right,
Yeah.
like it's definitely a harder app just because like it's both national, but you need data on a local level and personalized level. Like that's
You
really
do.
not trivial.
Yeah, and I think like there's a sorting of this too, like by religion, by denomination,
That's
and
a-
even within like denomination, there's subcategories. So yeah, it's a little tough.
I mean, I think your intuition actually that it's a good
Yeah,
application for AI makes sense because that's where AI does really well is for stuff
yeah.
like that. Where I guess actually this is an interesting question for you in the meantime of like, what's insufficient about Google, which would be like the best traditional tool for this.
Yeah. So in my search, I think what's tough about Google is that it shows everything. And then it's like that decision paralysis. Like, I don't know where to go because I have so much options. And then after I go on Google, then I jump over to Instagram because if a church has a social media presence, you got me hooked. Then I go from Instagram to YouTube because then I'm listening to see if what they're saying resonates with the heart.
Oh, that's so interesting. That's a really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But if there's no social media presence, you've lost me because I
Really?
can't. Even if I look at reviews, generally people always have good reviews about churches. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to be like a terrible person to like write a bad review on a church. Um, so generally those are good. So they're not as believable, but like if there's nothing
That makes sense.
on socials, I can't go.
Wait, from a strategy perspective, like, would it be better or like for a church to have a semi-negative review or a middle ground review so it seems more genuine? You know what I mean? Like, not a 5-star, maybe throw in a 3 because you're like, wow, okay, like this is a real place versus all these kind of 5-star kind of everything the world is great.
Yeah, I would say so. Cause then I want to look
Whoa.
further. At least I would look further
Yeah.
at that point. Cause I'm like, ooh,
Ooh, what
somebody
happened?
didn't give them a full comment. What happened? Let me
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
let's
Like,
go through their
no.
Instagram. Let's see what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And then yeah. But if there's no follow on like an Instagram page or YouTube, I can't do it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is
Yeah, that's
interesting.
super interesting.
I
Yeah.
mean, what I'm hearing from you is like your app needs to be more than we thought it was because it needs to like conveniently
Yeah.
serve all those other channels or even recommend it to someone who maybe hasn't thought to do that. Because yeah, it sounds like your core kind of issue makes a lot of sense. Like if every review is super inflated, then the normal digital techniques aren't useful.
Which I think we're seeing that more and more in general. Like everyone expects everyone to have all 5-star reviews. Everything seems like, and you just don't really believe it anymore because you're like,
No.
how can one thing do all this stuff and make fries and milk, like, and all this stuff? Like, so that's interesting. Maybe the new movement isn't, 5-star reviews. Maybe it's how many 3-star reviews do you have?
Yeah. Or like if you could hit us in the middle, like a 4.5, like we
Oh,
know
yeah.
you get it right. You're
Yeah.
above average.
Yeah. You're just like everyone else. You're doing great. But it's everyone has bad days.
Yeah. But yeah, I
That's-
guess like that's just the nature of the beast with these days, I think the expectations that we have for technology, the expectations that we put on services is so much higher. Like imagine in the 90s, like I wouldn't even be thinking about you having a YouTube channel because YouTube didn't exist. I would just care about like what you're telling me when I'm in person to my heart rather than like having to have that up front before I even go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a really good point. I haven't thought about that. for like,
More exposure and actually
ironically, for
less
being a
trust.
small business, but
Yeah.
just how like
Yeah.
for like a small church, like there's just so much more stuff you have to do if you actually do care about being competitive.
Well, because I would think that you wouldn't want someone who has a social media because they're focused mainly on their church and church goers. But like, I'm exactly wrong in that regard because maybe they're trying to hit a bigger audience and you're getting kind of a flavor and kind of a feeling on what they're saying and doing. Ah.
Yeah. It sells, social sells, because you could just go through and just like get a sense, like, okay, qualitatively, what are they saying? Like, how do people look in the photos? Are they happy? Like, let's go back. And I think a lot of people these days too for churches, this is like real nuance, but people are comparing like what they see and what they hear from churches, what they were saying before COVID and what they're saying now. Because that before COVID, after COVID effect is like, okay, churches were thriving, booming, like lots of social vibes. Post COVID, like attendance went down, hybrid formats, like not as much like in-person things, budgets shifted. So yeah. That might just be me, but and
No,
people in my general circle, but that's what I look for too. Like what did you look like before and after COVID?
but honestly, too, think about that for other in-person things, right? I would
Yeah.
argue shopping, right? Like online shopping or all these other things like that. Like, what did you look like before or after? Like anything that was community gather or in-person activities, that's probably all gonna feel that a little bit from their followers.
Oh, for sure.
All
For
right.
sure.
We finally got this built.
Okay.
Woo!
Let's see it.
All right. So because you asked for an AI app, or I asked it for you. So yeah, like normally like asking normal people to integrate APIs sounds kind of crazy. So what we do is it gives you these step-by-step custom instructions for whatever API you decided. Because like ultimately, like if you're not familiar with the API space, it's literally like, there's probably hundreds of thousands of these things and they're all different and they all change all the time. So we actually generate it on the spot for you with AI. So that way it reasonably will work for you.
Nice.
So, I'm not going to go through all these directions. This is what you would set up.
Yep.
And this is like actually a highly technical thing here.
Yes.
And then I'll copy and paste in this key. I think this is what was on my clipboard. Can't remember if I copied and pasted anything else since then. I don't think so. So hopefully that'll work.
Whoa, I love it. Find your new church home. Okay.
Oh yeah, so we can browse around. So yeah, this is our builder. So we'll go over editing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I don't know, guide me around, drive me.
Yeah, I guess like well, let's click on the Bible verses.
Yeah, because this was
Let's
kind of
see.
the distribution strategy here that we picked these
Mhm.
blogs.
Okay. Oh, we got John 3:16. Good. Right out the gate. Okay. You got me hooked. Okay, nice.
So this being
Um,
a page you're trying to SEO, so you'd get some backlinks to it and then try to rank for that Bible verses about love. And those
right.
165,000 people that search for that every month on Google, if you can get up to the third or fourth spot, that's probably good for like 10,000 people a month coming to this page.
For sure.
So
For sure.
basically like once you, to start, you wouldn't really want a call to action at all with it. But like once you have a bunch of people coming, that's where you can add a call to action. It's like, hey, are you or a friend looking for a local church?
Mhm.
Click here to how it works or whatever. Well, also, people might just notice you're the top of the site.
So enter your location, share preferences, get AI recommendations, visit, and connect.
Nice.
Do you want to try to use it?
Yeah. Let's use it. Let's use it. Okay. We can put in New York, where I live.
Oh, I didn't know you were in New York City.
Yeah.
Any preference? I think this drop down should open.
Yeah, there's definitely a lag.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
there
is
it
so
goes.
laggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. We could leave it as any denomination.
I don't even know what server style it came up with, so we can see what the drop down options are.
And also take into account that was just from this one prompt, right? So like you can personalize it, customize it, do all these things. And I always like to see what it comes up with.
for
Yeah. 'cause-
sure.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Do you see the drop downs?
No, I think it's still like lagging.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just read them out to you. There's
Yeah, yeah.
so it's like the service style. It says contemporary, modern, traditional, classic, mixed, blended, liturgical, or charismatic / spirit led. Do any of those call out
Ooh.
to you?
And I'm judging
We
your
could do we could I know, right? I know, right? I'm like, let me think about this. We could do contemporary.
Okay.
All right. That's a I can't judge that one. That was a good answer.
Do you think that was a good list?
What, contemporary? Or
Uh,
the list?
Like selection of the different
Oh
styles.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because one that stood out was the liturgical, which is like kind of like quote unquote like the older style churches, which people still go for. I'm glad that it highlighted that because that often gets buried on Google.
Oh, good to know.
Wow. Hey.
Any special family or ministry needs? Or do you want to just do the standard search?
Yeah, we could look at the standard church, see what they got for us.
So I imagine this is going to make us on board. I bet I did. I bet I copy and pasted that prompt into the API. Let me go and put the actual API in.
Yeah,
So like
building in
we have
real
all these
time.
dashboards and stuff to try to make it easy.
Oh, this one's so cool. So it actually
Oh.
shows you how it works.
Yeah. So if you actually had to
Yeah.
build this app, this explains to you in plain English what all the logic of your code does.
Oh, nice.
Right? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Man, I don't even remember my own dashboard where I go for APIs. Maybe I'll just ask it to do it again.
I usually just type it into the chat. You know more about this part. I'm always just like, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
Yeah,
Drop it in the chat.
Dump it in the chat.
Yeah, that key I pasted in was suspiciously long.
Yeah, that was why I was kinda like, I bet it's the prompt because it's like across the screen. But the API instructions are like so far I've
Yeah.
integrated a lot of the APIs, and I think I've only got stumped with one of them one time, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
To Nick's point, there's hundreds and thousands of them, and they change constantly. So the directions I found were fairly easy, and I've incorporated a chatbot, I've incorporated emails, I've incorporated text messages to phones. I made a CRM kind of for us, and like put together all these things, generates reports for me, does all these fun things so I can kind of focus a little bit better. And I had to integrate multiple APIs or these things, and it was pretty easy to do. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, yeah. So it brought the key input back up, and now I'm having trouble getting my key.
Yeah.
Building
So
in
like
real time.
it is real.
My computer's just like
Your
lagging out hard.
Yeah, your computer's like, I'm tired. Oh yeah, that's lagging. Pretty
Yeah,
bad.
this computer's dang near frozen up. Here, maybe I will. Yeah, maybe I'll just
Stop sharing and do that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. If I stop sharing quick
Yeah, because it's
and just
pretty
get
Yeah,
the
slow.
Here, I'm just gonna turn off our video real quick to try to get this.
Yeah, for sure.
Close some of these random windows.
Oh yeah, you have a lot of stuff open.
Yeah, I really need a bigger laptop.
So can we ask you questions
Yeah.
Out of camera on.
without our camera? And
Yeah.
so, I mean, what got you interested, essentially starting your podcast journey and all those kind of things? And what has been the most shocking thing that you've learned in the process?
Oh, good question. So I started this journey in podcasting. I've always wanted to enter into content creation in some way, some form. And I
Mhm.
thought it had to be like a hobby. Like, oh, I need to show like my archery or like maybe post clips of me golfing.
Okay.
And I love that stuff. Like it's passion based, but I'm like, why not just like talk about the things I do every day and areas that I'm passionate about, like tech, product leadership. Obviously, AI is blowing up the world, cloud, all these things.
Mhm.
And as a kid, I always wanted to have a talk show too. As a kid, like
Oh
as
my
a
God, I love
as,
that. I feel like our son loves to talk. I feel like maybe you
yeah,
could for him.
yeah.
So
I
funny.
just
Yeah.
always. And I'm like, man, like I just want to do that in some kind of capacity. I started just posting on LinkedIn late 2024. I
Yeah,
had a lot of drafts of things that came in my head, and I'm just like, I'm gonna just post. I just posted it on LinkedIn.
do it. Do
And
it.
like that kind of got me from like written and consistency. And I did that for like over a year. And
Okay.
while doing that in the background, that's when I started like recording with folks. And I'm like, I actually like this. I actually really, really do enjoy this. I enjoy talking to people, learning their stories. And then here we are, and I was actually supposed to launch, the podcast was supposed to launch last year, July 2025. I was going to launch it on my birthday, do a whole try to go viral moment. Um,
They're
but
really,
then,
don't worry.
but then I was like, I'll launch it at the top of the year where I have a better sense of like direction and where I want to go. Because in the beginning, a lot of people were saying, hey, maybe you should just like interview executives. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to interview folks who are in the trenches. I don't want all corporate speak. Yes, there's still room for those folks if they choose to come on. But like seeing how like we're working through this website in real time, working through the tech, talking about the reasons why you all left corporate, like that stuff fuels me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it fuels the audience as well because it's authentic stories and perspectives. So yeah, that's my spiel.
No, I'm like a massive consumer of like, I don't know, just everything in your whole kind of like target industry of like
Yep.
entrepreneurship content. And I think you're like hitting the nail on the head on like a glaring gap that I've like always wished
So
someone
0 to
closed.
1.
Not even
Yeah.
0 to 1.
0 to
Like,
1.
no, it's like the like -5 to 0.1. That just doesn't like really,
For
it
real.
doesn't exist. It almost doesn't exist.
That
at all.
is that's fair.
And but yet
Or
that's the
nobody
most
wants to
important
talk
thing.
about it. Nobody
Well,
wants to talk about
That's
it.
the most important thing because it's like if you're just a normal person living normal life, but you have these giant dreams, like there's literally no content on how you go from like working your normal
Yeah.
job to like
Mhm.
pursuing your dreams. It always starts where it's like some of the earliest good stuff I can find is like Brian Chesky with Airbnb. There were some interviews of him before Airbnb was like a big thing, but even then, it's like
He'd already proof of concept.
yeah, like it
already
was
started,
pretty
yeah,
close to
getting
product market fit if it
fit.
wasn't
Yeah.
quite there.
Yeah. Or like if you look at like Jeff Bezos's early interviews, they were throwing so much shade at him.
Yeah.
They're like, this company isn't profitable. Like you're not even gonna make money. You look poor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do we like and that was back
Why would
then,
you say
like different
that?
culture, different vibes. But like
Yeah.
look where he
Yeah.
is now. Like, come on now.
Well,
So
exactly.
missed opportunity. Missed
Yeah.
opportunity.
And I think it's something that anybody can do. It's hard to, I think, I think we were talking about a little bit about this yesterday. Like basically just be in the dark. Like nobody is seeing what you're doing. You don't have positive reinforcement on it. And like just emotionally being able to hold that out until there's some benefit to that. Right. And like that's really hard, failure after failure after failure, or, basically
Yeah.
like you in the basement building things and like just waiting for something to hit. Like that's rough. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think it was the API key. I think it actually screwed up your app. That at least the AI side of it, which like I'm okay with that, to be honest, because like letting people make their own AI app that easily is something I want to do, but like obviously a pretty high bar.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For
That's why I
sure.
wanted to try a more challenging one. I don't know. Is there anything else at the site you wanted to look at though? On the
Yeah, I guess we could pull it up again and just like look at it, just for the audience sake. And
you should at least the sign-in flow and stuff like that should be able to work.
yeah, let's see it.
Yeah, it asked it to fix your error, and it didn't seem like it was on the same page. So I think it's probably beyond scope for this lag.
Yeah, the lag is serious.
Yeah, I gotta not
Yeah.
click twice.
But what did you learn that surprised you? You didn't answer that part of the question.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
Yeah.
I just like went into the backstory. Honestly, I didn't realize how much I would learn from people like yourself. Also, just like podcasting in general. when I first like started recording like my first like solo episodes, oh my God, it was so like weird just talking to the camera. And I'm like, dang, like you just have to just like get into character and just talk like how you would normally talk. Like it's not just talk, you know? And I'm like, this is how everybody does it. They just talk. Like
Yeah.
it's not this overly polished thing. And there's a space for that, but like just talk, just have an idea, have an outline, and it'll be okay. So yeah, that's some of the things I learned. And honestly, like people talk about like, oh, becoming a better public speaker, all these things. I'm like, podcasting will definitely
You're like, I'm tired.
enhance that skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah,
So yeah, while you were talking, I signed up. So that's just kind of what
nice.
we mean by app in a box. So like pretty much all other stuff right now, you have to like integrate with stuff like Supabase or all these other companies, which I think to like a mom and pop shop owner is just like, no, it's like they're just not going to do that, you know?
Yeah.
They're not going to
Yeah, they're
configure their
not.
Supabase database. So we try to do it all as a one-stop shop. And like we provide all these functions to where you can look at your stuff. I don't think this site had a database. Oh, church searches, which unfortunately search searches isn't working. So this would be where you would like see what people were typing into your app.
Yep.
This is like the
Yep.
admin mode, you know?
I like that.
We even have like a
Like that.
sensitive data mode for like financial apps, which would make your users have to do like one-time passwords every time and, you know, other special protections. Because again,
For
the whole
sure.
vision is just like, it's kind of like the Apple vision to product design, where like I'm like literally me, Nick Rackley, I'm going to make a bunch of security and like technical decisions for you if you're a non-technical user. So you don't have to talk to Claude about it or decide anything. Like I'm just going to do it all so that it's actually a secure app and it just works.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
constrains,
No, that's great.
yeah, that constrains what you can do a little bit. But I think for my, you know, our hypothesis for most people, they really rather not learn software architecture and they just make the
Yeah.
church finder.
Oh, for sure. For
And again,
sure. Well, this is great. This is
yeah.
great.
And so this is automatic. Basically what happens is like, I have a AI go and write all of your logic, which is then like served from Google Cloud. And then I have another
Yeah.
one come through and describe to you in plain English what your code actually says. So this is how it would actually work.
And you mentioned Google Cloud. Like, is the backend on this ran on Google Cloud? Is that where you
Yeah.
were?
Vibe Otter is pretty much just all built on Google Cloud. So we use
Okay.
Google Cloud servers and also some services.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what you get back.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
describing what the output that's actually built would be. I think what's happening right now is I think it's using an old Claude API endpoint.
Yeah.
And yeah, actually it's a important point that we didn't talk about is like AI is super enabling to people for building new apps and everything. One thing that never gets talked about is cloud itself.
Right.
Yeah, you know, like 15 years ago, well, this would be complete nonsense even if AI existed, because like I wouldn't be able to like stand up a server for you easily, you know?
Yeah. No compute, no storage, no
Yeah.
networking. And I think a lot of people these days, like I went to this event the other day in the city and someone was making the argument like, hey, like AI era versus cloud era. And like, oh, in the cloud era, we didn't have this, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, I think we need to zoom out and realize that like the cloud paved the way for the AI that we're using
yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Also, from a human psychology perspective, we have a higher bar for technology because we went through the cloud era and now we're building AI on top of it.
Yeah.
So psychologically, like we expect technology to actually like work when we want it to work. Because we have all of these servers, compute, storage, AWS, Google, at our fingertips to build. So yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because that's a point that I try to drive home too, with a lot of builders and just people in general, because people see AI as the visible element of technology these days, but not realizing that like cloud existed before it and actually makes it capable.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
Or we'd have servers in our basement.
Yeah.
Oh, real? Wow. Really?
What I was showing here is another
Yeah.
feature that makes us pretty unique is we have this touch-up feature, which actually just brings up the old-fashioned drag and drop editor for like WordPress and everybody. this is what we realized from doing client sites. There's certain things like maybe if you don't want AI in your church finder here, like you could chat with our AI to remove it, which is really inefficient.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just easier to delete stuff the old fashioned
Yeah,
way.
just do it on your
No.
own. Yeah.
So we're a hybrid builder in that sense. And I don't think really anyone else is doing that right now.
It's really
No, I
nice.
like that.
Like, oh my gosh,
Oh, yeah,
pictures,
yeah.
swapping out pictures, putting new pictures in, stuff like that. Because if you drop, we can hold about 30 images in our chat. But if
Yeah.
you just like, you're like, I want that picture to go right there, right there, and you keep trying to do that and you can't quite get it, you can just swap them out.
This have,
Nice.
I can't remember if this had a photo or
Nice.
not.
I like that because I know some website builders, like it's hard to like get things right where you want it. But this looks really intuitive, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to see?
No, that's good. That was a really, really good walkthrough. I appreciate it. And we were building this in real time with all the glitches, whatever. Like that's
Yeah.
a part of the building process.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, that's why I think your space is so cool. That's why I got really excited when you sent like the kind of stuff you wanted to talk about, because I was like, I
Yeah.
feel like you're like asking the right questions. That I wish like there was a show asking questions like this more.
For sure, for sure. Well, here it is. Here it is. Well, where can the audience find you? Where can the people find you?
So vibeotter.com, that's our
Yep.
website. I would definitely say if you've been sitting on an idea that you want to make, just go and type it in. It's really that easy. We literally picked like one of the hardest things we could here. For
Yeah.
most sites, like if you just want like a simple lead capture form, that's like pretty much a solved problem. It'll make a really nice design and the form will just work.
Yeah. I think the CRM I made, which had a lot of integrations, the entire thing took me, what, an hour?
Did she tell you she hooked up Twilio?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, on her own, she made a CRM that it had an AI chatbot. So it was an example where the Claude API worked, unlike this
Yeah.
one. And then what really shocked me is she hooked up Twilio where it sent her text messages.
Yep.
And
That's so cool.
that was probably one of my first times I had like the moment I think a lot of software engineers have, because a lot of software engineers are like, oh my God, I learned all these skills and like they're all devalued
Yeah.
and useless. And that one, I wasn't really like that, but I was like, I just remember this project where it took me like days to implement the Twilio API, because a lot of APIs aren't documented well. So like they don't behave the way you
Right.
should. So you kind of just test them and do it. And Twilio is famous for being good. Like that was a good one. And I just remember like it took me like days and she like did it
15 minutes.
with no knowledge. And for 15 minutes, I was just like, what the fuck did I just build?
And I of course have no idea how difficult that is. I'm just like, hey, look, I got it to go to my phone.
Yeah, just tinkering around.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
really tinkering around. So I was like, oh, this is really cool. He's like, what?
That's so
Yeah.
dope. That's
But I
so
mean,
dope.
yeah, CRM and literally the whole thing, I think in total time, like an hour maybe.
And yeah, if anyone sees it and tries something crazy and it's not working, like they get an error and they don't know what to do, they can reach out to me personally.
Yeah.
At vibeotter.com. We're definitely at a stage where like I really like hearing about problems and helping people through them, especially with this more cutting edge stuff, because like it's
Yeah.
not fully figured out, and that's how you actually get it to where it will work.
For sure. For sure. For sure. So what do you guys have on your roadmap for the next few months or for 2026? What can the audience expect coming out of the pipeline from y'all?
More workshops, more build in publics, I would say.
Mhm.
Probably like, I think really from a marketing standpoint, we're really going to try and nail our messaging for people to use the builder and things like
Yeah.
that. Definitely more like normal people in that regard. That's I think that's my immediate intent. And so whatever that may look like to support. So whether that's, networking, pitch competitions, or, social media and whatever that message would be, I think that's my major focus right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And technology side, we're like way ahead of where I thought we would be. Like this whole
That's
full stack
good.
app builder thing, like 6 months ago, I literally said, I don't even
Yep.
want to go there. It's going to take
Mhm.
way too long. I can't do it
Mhm.
by myself.
Yep.
And then, yeah, I mean, the Claude models that helped me program got a little bit better. and it's just like accelerated things so much that like I pretty much have like worked through my whole roadmap that would have been like a 2-year roadmap if you asked me like 4 months ago.
Yo, that's
So yeah, I
insane.
actually am getting to play. It's been like such a crazy experience how much it accelerated me that I am kind of like, maybe like we aren't actually dreaming big enough, and like we should actually go be more aggressive. Like if you accomplish something that you thought was impossible in 1 month, like the takeaway I think actually is like maybe you aren't thinking big enough.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and along those lines, are you considering like going like the VC route to kind of scale more, or
We're
is that
definitely avoiding that. If
okay?
The
at all
money is
possible.
expensive money.
Yeah, we sold
It
our house.
is.
Yeah.
We had a rental house in New Haven that we sold, and that's like
Yeah,
effectively our like, pre-seed funding ourselves.
Mhm.
that's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Where you
And
own everything and no clause.
yeah, and then I'm hoping. I mean, the economics of like the DIY builder aren't totally clear. Like, I don't know how many people build a website and then stay on yet. We just haven't had enough time to observe. But I think it's going to be where it might be bootstrappable and self-funded. Really, like, I mean, you sound like you're probably a student of a lot of startups and everything being in the space. Like, one thing that I was, because I listened to like, founder stories from like WordPress
Mhm.
and Squarespace and Base 44, pretty much like every competitor. Something about this industry actually has always had a pretty strong ability for people to bootstrap extraordinarily long amounts of time. Like Squarespace was bootstrapped for like 3 years or something like that.
For sure.
Yeah. This Base 44 guy, I don't know if you heard about him. He was like a competitor to us. He sold his company to Wix for $80 million after like 6 months, and he only had 6 employees.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, we're hoping to avoid the VC game,
I agree.
if at all, if not at least for a very long time. That's what I've always been told by everybody is like, never get involved with VCs if you can avoid it.
For sure. For, well, Nick and Laura, thank you all so much for this great episode. I mean, like, we had such a great time together. I learned so much. You guys shared so much, and the audience will definitely benefit. I have benefited in so many ways, and I definitely wish you all the best as you continue to build. I will be continuing to follow you all on socials and see how things go. But thank you all so much for joining me on the Product Leaders Edge podcast. This episode will be a part of our Builder series as a special signature episode. Thank you all, and see you in the next episode.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for listening to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. If this episode gave you a new way to think about product leadership, share it with someone else who's building in the tech space today. You can follow my work on LinkedIn through my weekly series, Tech Tuesdays with KJ, and subscribe to the newsletter on Substack, which is Solostar by KJG.substack.com. And I'll link all of that into the show notes for you all. But let's continue to build at the intersection of product, cloud, and AI. Until next time, keep building.